first thing people noticed wasn't the flowers or the cameras, it was the empty seat in the front row. A place that should have belonged to Jayden Adams now stood as a heartbreaking reminder of a life taken far too soon. As football legends, teammates, and loved ones quietly entered the memorial hall, the emotion was impossible to hide. This wasn't just the farewell to a gifted footballer. It was the goodbye to a young man whose dream had inspired an entire nation. The South African football community came together to celebrate the life of Bafana Bafana and Mamelodi Sundowns midfielder Jayden Adams, whose sudden passing at just 25 years old stunned the nation. Having recently represented South Africa on football's biggest stage, Jayden's death left teammates, supporters, and the entire sporting world struggling to come to terms with the loss. His memorial service began with a private gathering attended by close family members, relatives, teammates, coaches, football officials, and longtime friends. Held away from the public eye, the ceremony provided those closest to Jayden an opportunity to remember not only the footballer they admired but also the son, brother, friend, and teammate they loved. Inside the memorial venue, a large portrait of Jayden stood surrounded by flowers, football jerseys, candles, and personal messages left by those whose lives he had touched. Every detail reflected the remarkable journey of a young man who rose from humble beginnings to become one of South Africa's brightest football stars. Members of Mamelodi Sundowns arrived together, visibly emotional as they paid tribute to the teammate who had become like family. Players from Bafana Bafana also attended, standing side by side as they honored someone who proudly represented the national team with passion, determination, and humility. Football administrators, coaches, former players, and representatives from across South African football gathered to show their respect for a player whose future had looked incredibly bright. One of the most emotional moments came when Jayden's parents entered the memorial hall. Supported by close relatives, they received comforting embraces from teammates and coaches who struggled to hold back their own tears. The pain inside the room was shared by everyone present. Many described it as one of the most emotional moments South African football had witnessed in recent years. Tributes soon followed. Bafana Bafana captain Ronwen Williams delivered a heartfelt message that touched everyone in attendance. He spoke not only about Jayden's incredible football ability but also about his kindness, humility, and positive attitude. Williams remembered Jayden as someone who always lifted the spirits of everyone around him, regardless of the pressure or challenges facing the team. He promised that Jayden's memory would continue inspiring South African football for generations to come. Several teammates then shared personal stories that brought both tears and smiles. They remembered Jayden's laughter during training sessions, his willingness to help younger players, and his determination to improve every single day. Many said success never changed him. Despite becoming one of the country's fastest rising stars, he remained grounded, respectful, and approachable. Family representatives also addressed those gathered. Speaking on behalf of the Adams family, they thanked South Africans for the overwhelming support shown since Jayden's passing. They explained that messages of sympathy had arrived from across the world, and that the family's strength came from seeing how many lives Jayden had touched during his short but meaningful life. Later, members of the public were given the opportunity to join a second memorial service. Hundreds of supporters filled the venue wearing Bafana Bafana jerseys, Mamelodi Sundowns colors, and football scarves in Jayden's honor. Many carried flowers, handwritten letters, and photographs celebrating his remarkable journey. Outside, supporters quietly sang football songs while others embraced complete strangers, united by the shared sadness of losing one of the nation's brightest talents. For many fans, Jayden represented hope. His rise through South African football proved that dedication, discipline, and belief could turn dreams into reality. Young footballers looked up to him not only because of his skill, but because of the character he displayed on and off the field. Throughout the memorial, speakers reflected on Jayden's journey from promising youngster to national team midfielder. His achievements with Stellenbosch FC, Mamelodi Sundowns, and Bafana Bafana earned him widespread admiration and respect. Many believed his greatest football moments were still ahead of him. That realization made the farewell even more heartbreaking. Friends also remembered Jayden as someone who cared deeply about others. Whether encouraging young players, supporting teammates, or spending time with family, he always placed people before himself. Those qualities became just as important as anything he achieved during his football career. As the ceremony drew to a close, mourners observed a minute of silence before rising together in a standing ovation. The applause echoed throughout the memorial hall, serving as one final thank you to a young man who had inspired countless people through both his talent and his character. Attention has now turned toward Jayden Adams' funeral, where family, close friends, teammates, football officials, and supporters are expected to gather once again for his final farewell. The service is expected to celebrate not only his achievements on the football field but also the kindness, humility, and compassion that define the man behind the jersey. Although Jayden Adams' journey ended far too soon, his legacy continues to grow. Every young footballer who dreams of wearing the South African jersey will remember his determination. Every teammate will remember his friendship. And every supporter will remember the pride he brought to the nation whenever he stepped onto the pitch. Jayden Adams may no longer be with us, but his spirit will continue living in South African football. His story is no longer measured only by the matches he played or the goals he helped create. It is measured by the lives he inspired, the respect he earned, and the unforgettable legacy he leaves behind. For those who knew him, loved him, and cheered for him, this is not simply goodbye. It is a promise that Jayden Adams will never be forgotten.